Hi! Have you ever noticed that transphobes really seem to hate the word cis? Hi everyone, Joy here, and I've been thinking about the use of the word cis ever since I had a conversation a couple of days ago in a comment section of a video posted by Suris on the 18th of January called "This person, whom shall not be named, Voldemort, claims that these comments are for kids. Are they? No, not really." Right, so the conversation I had goes thusly. LK Pause said, "Random. I'm not a fan of the cis prefix for men and women who identify with their birth sex, but I can't really do shit about it, because then I'm labelled an ist and phobe. I'd prefer none, as they're rather self-explanatory, but with the muddling of sex and gender in the past few years, I can see why a prefix can be needed, but what's wrong with bio? Cis sounds like hissing. Emoji face is weird." So I replied, cis is a prefix that is from Latin, meaning roughly on the same side, as opposed to trans, which means across to another side. Saying biologically male/female muddies the water a lot. A trans woman who has taken HRT has biologically changed her hormone profile and probably has some biologically anatomical breasts. Trans isn't the opposite of biological. LK Pause then replied, "I know what cis means, that it's Latin and that biological isn't the opposite of trans. So why fucking ask? I can still disagree with wanting to be referred to as cis. I'm just a biological woman, and that should be okay. Biological sex and the corresponding gender identity should still matter and not be seen as a bad or horrible thing some doctor assigned you at birth. Also, this might be harsh, but no matter how much surgeries or hormones a man does or takes, they'll never become a biological woman, and vice versa. Science, as far as I know, just hasn't gotten to that point yet, unfortunately." Sad emoji face. I, of course, disagreed. Some other comments here say, We're Vampirwolf said, "That's just transphobia." Notice how this person said that's transphobia, not "you're transphobic." LK Pause then replies, "Biology and facts aren't transphobic, sorry you feel that way." Honey, no, you're just misinterpreting what's going on here. So my last reply was, "By changing one's biology through surgeries and hormones, i.e. medical transition, a trans person can biologically align their body more with their gender identity. Even if that wasn't the case though, there is still some evidence from cadaver studies to suggest that brains of trans people matches more with their lived gender than their assigned one. Are you telling me that a brain isn't biological? If you don't like the word cis, I can't force you to, but please don't inaccurately use the word biological. Assigned gender at birth is not necessarily a bad thing, it's just the most accurate way of talking about that process." So I think I did a good, if a little bit basic job of explaining the difference between the words cis and biological. The thing that person said about no matter how much surgeries and hormones someone takes, they'll never be the other gender, blah, 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 that is transphobia, sweetie, whether you want to admit it or not. Is it the worst case of transphobia? Is it beating up trans people in the street? Is it dead naming them? No. But it's still not acceptance. That means it's transphobia. So why is it the case that some people don't like the label cis? LK Pause said that they didn't like the sound of the word. And there are some words that people just don't like the sound of. I've heard of this happening before. You know, this happens more for the word's phonemic quality rather than its semantic meaning. Examples I can think of are moist, mucus, splurge. These are not pretty words. Can't really do much about that though. And these words still exist and are the most accurate depictions of the things that they describe. So sorry, but also looking at it, that doesn't explain though why the dislike of the word cis is generally seen with a dose of transphobia alongside it. The idea that I have is that cis has been accepted as the default for so long that bigots don't like special labels being applied to them, especially when they don't understand them. They see this as an insult. I refer you to the Charlie Kirk tweet, where he doesn't seem to understand what cisgender means. That's good wording right there. Speaking of insults, though, a word that does sound similar to cis is sissy. I'm going to post the definition up on screen right now. So, to closed-minded assholes and would-be transphobes, being effeminate is seen as a negative, derogatory quality, and so it just makes sense that someone who associates cis with sissy, they would vehemently dislike that, right? But that doesn't change the fact that these words are in fact different, that this dislike is born of bigotry, and these ignoramus need to learn words and get over their butt hurt. Sorry, would you like some aloe vera for that burn? Then there was the time that prominent TERF Posey Parker was interviewed by Trigonometry. I will link the video clip below, but I suggest you don't watch it because it's frustrating. The hosts, the interviewers, they don't actually push back a lot against her views, and there is a little bit of sniggering as well. They're clearly not leftists, put it that way. That's what makes it infuriating, but for context, you know, it's there. Anyway, she was asked by them about the word cis, and I quote,
"It's women that have to change all our bloody language. We're uterus havers. I think in Ireland now you're pregnant people. Jesus Christ. It's, I'm a woman. That should be enough, right? But it's not anymore because we have trans women, and so now apparently we have to have a prefix. And I think the Green Party called us non-trans. Haha. Called women like me non-trans women. I mean, fuck off, like, no."
end quote. Thing is, it's not just women who have to change their language or anything like that. It's everyone who needs to recognise the need for a word to distinguish non-trans people. Like her. She doesn't want to be called non-trans. Well, she isn't trans. If only there was some sort of a short, convenient word for that. Also, as a side note, brava Ireland for use of inclusive language, recognising that not all pregnant people are in fact women. But the end of that interview really does belie her intention, though. Like, she would rather all trans people, quote-unquote, fuck off. It's not the label cis that's the problem. For her, it's just any labels. But the thing is, cis is just an adjective. It's short for cisgender, but it is still an adjective. And you could say the words, you know, she is a cis woman, just as soon as you could say she is a straight woman, she is a blonde woman, she is a short woman, she is a mean woman, she is a cruel woman. Furthermore, all the non-transphobic people that I've talked to don't have a problem with the word cis. When I was at college, you know, the second time round as an adult, and I explained to my other sort of friends in the group that I was studying in that the word for someone who is not trans is cisgender. And the reaction I got from them is a lot different than the reaction transphobes have. It went something like this. "Oh, really? Oh, that's very interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, so I'm cisgender then. I think it's funny that there's such a difference in reactions to this innocent little word, but that reaction tells you, more often than not, everything you need to know about the attitude that those people have towards trans people. So anyway, thank you for hearing me out, and please continue to use the word cis as and when needed. Cisgender is valid, goddammit. So, yeah, shit. This doesn't explain why the word cis is disliked, and I've seen generally people who dislike it. Oh, fuck. What is that sentence? So, the conversation. Shit. That's a bit wonky. Fucking camera wobble. More often than most. Fuck. In the description here. Not Rona.